I'll show you 5 ways to practice more effective interpersonal communication skills. These are foundational skills, not advanced ones. But don't be fooled by that. If you practice these 5 skills every day, other people will see you as a better interpersonal communicator. This is part 1 in a series on the top soft skills for the workplace. I'll paste links to each video in this series in the expandable description below as I release them. Interpersonal communication refers to communication that happens face-to-face between 2 people. This is about a one-on-one meeting or a conversation with a colleague, a quick hallway check-in, a conversation over lunch, and of course, the long-term relationships that develop over time. For this video, I'm setting aside specific conversational types like giving and receiving feedback or conflict management. Those are important, but we're starting with the irreplaceable basic mechanics of good interpersonal communication, the skills that create rapport and build a positive workplace relationship. Number 1, practice good greetings. This is the first key skill that my co-author Julian Miravel and I discuss in our book, Positive Communication for Leaders. In fact, the first 3 behaviors on this list come from our book. Julian put this list together in his wheel of positive communication, and he put this skill first. If you want to improve your interpersonal skills, you must start with good greetings. If you don't greet people well, when you pass them in the hallway or enter a room for a group meeting, you are missing your first opportunity to establish a positive interpersonal connection. These days, most people are more likely to look down at their phone than look up, make eye contact, smile, say hello, and use the person's name. As we say in our book, greetings accomplish a number of important communication functions. A good greeting opens a line of communication that wasn't there a moment ago. It affirms the relationship by communicating, I see you, I value you. And it builds a relational bridge toward task-related conversations much more smoothly. Years ago on a Monday morning, I knocked on a colleague's open door, and I was in a hurry. And when she looked up, I jumped right to the task. Are you going to be able to make that meeting at noon today? She held up her hands and said, whoa, slow down. Then she quickly coached me by role-playing how I should have started. Hi, Michelle. How was your weekend? She was right. I instantly jumped to task without any social connection, and it felt really abrupt. So take the initiative, move toward people, give them a clear, high-quality greeting each day. Number 2, ask questions, or as we say in our book, ask questions to discover the unknown. I'll put a link to the book in the description below. Questions are the driver of most good interpersonal conversations. Have you ever been mid-conversation and the energy just died and neither person knew what to say next? In almost every case, it's probably because both people or at least one person stopped asking questions. Questions give conversational life and momentum. They give people something to react to. Ask about weekend plans, about their kids, about their dog, what they've been doing for fun lately. Ask work-related questions too about their projects and what they've been focusing on. Use closed-ended yes-no questions as a jumping-off place, but lean mostly toward open-ended questions that start with how, what, or why. Those get people elaborating and sharing more details. And then ask follow-up questions. If they mention they plan to play pickleball this weekend, ask how they first got into pickleball. If they say their brother introduced them to it, ask them follow-up questions about their brother. Just don't let it become a game of 20 questions where it feels like a one-way interrogation. Hopefully, they'll ask you questions too. But if they don't, just share something about yourself, which brings up the next tip. Number 3, practice self-disclosure and reciprocity. Self-disclosure is when we reveal information about ourselves that people wouldn't otherwise know. When people visit my office, I'll show them a picture of my family and share a little bit about them. If they ask how I'm doing, I might tell them a bit about my life and what I've been up to. The key is that you're talking about information that exists outside of your official organizational role or job title. When you share something personal through everyday conversation, the other person gets to know you as a well-rounded, whole human being, not just a coworker, and that gives them more to appreciate about you. And one of the most common things that happens when people self-disclose is that the other person tends to reciprocate. This is called the law of reciprocity in the field of communication. If I tell you something about my life, you may feel free, maybe even prompted to share something similar about your life. And when self-disclosure and reciprocity happen, you can almost feel your emotions shift in the conversation. You can feel yourself bonding and strengthening that relationship right there in the moment. So if you notice somebody sharing a little bit about their life beyond their job description, that's your open door to reciprocate and let them get to know you as well. So a few words of wisdom, of course, only disclose at your own comfort level. Don't reveal anything that makes you feel too vulnerable. And don't get too personal too fast so it feels like you've overshared. Number 4, match their conversational style. One of the things we appreciate most in a conversation is sensing similarity with the other person. When you do small things like speak at a similar pace or volume, it signals common ground, shared understanding, and that creates rapport. Some people call this mirroring and matching, and I never do this as a superficial tactic to manipulate. I make a genuine effort to align my communication style and adapt slightly to make it easier for both of us to connect. There's a whole body of research on this called communication accommodation theory, which shows the mutual adjustments people make to match each other's communication. And that usually happens naturally when people enjoy being around each other and want to connect. So if you want to be more intentional about this, don't mimic or imitate the other person. That's not what this is. Just make small, easy adjustments. If they're sitting, you may want to sit. If they're speaking at a moderate volume and pace, but you're speaking loudly and quickly, bring your volume and pace down to roughly match theirs. I do this to help the other person feel more comfortable and put them at ease, not to create unearned trust or to close a deal. I found it usually makes the conversation go much more smoothly in a way that feels mutually satisfying. Number 5, use effective turn taking. Creating a genuine dialogue, a mutually satisfying back and forth exchange is really important in everyday workplace conversations. Unfortunately, many people talk at the other person and turn it into a one-way monologue. And if you have a habit of motor mouthing, that will undo all of the positive work from the other skills in this video. This is one of the important skills you need to lock down. And the cure is straightforward. Take short talking turns. Instead of speaking for a paragraph or more, if we were to type this all out, speak for about 2 or 3 sentences and then pitch it back to the other person with a question, or just stop talking and let them respond. If you think about it, the number 1 skill you need to take short talking turns is restraint. Whenever you're monologuing, you can solve the whole issue with one move. After a couple of sentences, put a period at the end of the statement and hand the conversation back over to them. Now, it's easy for me to say and hard to do, but if you commit to it, it changes everything about the way people will experience you in conversations. Here's a summary of the 5 foundational skills for effective interpersonal communication. You could call them the communication mechanics that will help you better create rapport and positive relationships with others. As mentioned, this is part 1 in a series on soft skills. In the next video, we'll look at how to improve your critical thinking skills. Until then, thanks, God bless, and I will see you soon.